Welcome, everyone. I'm Candice Smith, and we're back with our next empowerment series where we're going to talk about how you embrace your power, especially when it comes to navigating the conflicts in your workplace and doing that with confidence. So, join me as we discuss these difficult conversations that we face when you have to navigate these situations within the workplace. So, join me in these inspiring conversations in this next series.
Welcome, welcome. Wherever you're calling from, what day, wherever you're joining, hope you're having a great start to your weekend. For those who don't know me, my name is Candice Smith, and I am the CEO and founder of Shaping Pathways, Inc. And Shaping Pathways, Inc. was founded to empower minority women and professionals in leadership who feel overwhelmed and feel that they need to rewrite their narrative so that they can find new leadership roles or promotions that align to their career paths and goals. And I have embarked on a series of workshops and webinars, which are all around empowerment. And today we are just going to discuss this topic around embracing your power and navigating your workplace, which is really around addressing the dynamics that we have to deal with our workplace on an everyday basis. And so I want to start this off by just asking for everyone to have a show of hands to say, who feel that you have to deal with a lot of challenges where you feel overlooked in your workplace on a constant basis? So just give me a show of hands. See a lot of head shaking. All right, so if everyone feels like that, we can jump right in. If you can go to the next slide. I want you to think about this, and I really want you to take this in, because when you think about feeling overlooked, it's really because it's something that resonated with me, because I think that they don't see your power because they aren't meant to hold your power. So I ask myself, where do I plug in my power source to? That's why that picture is there. Because I want you to reflect on, where do you plug your power source to? Because if you want to think about where you feel overlooked and how, when you think about feeling overlooked, if your power source is plugged into the right power, then they can't hold your power because they can't see the strength of their power because your power is too strong. So they can't expect them to understand your power, right? And I say them because we all know who them is when we talk about them. Right? We'll classify them in many ways, many different, how you want to classify them. And so with that, today is not for me to really talk about and speech and for me to, it's a conversation. So we're going to make it engaging and interactive. And so I want you to be free to engage with me. So these are the realities we have to face as minority leaders. And this is what we have to just deal with as an everyday, right? We're underrepresented. So as Black employees, we make up about 12% of the workforce, but we hold 7.5% of management roles. And in C-suite, that's even less. We're about like 1%. And I found this as I looked at data from McKinsey & Co. and some of the other sources. Then this is 2024 data. 40% of Black professionals report feeling bias in their pay and promotions. And then we all know what's been happening around the DEI initiatives with the new executive order. And these are shrinking, the funding around them are disappearing. And this is really having an impact around us as professionals. And I have had many conversations this week in the last few months around, what does this mean for us? So I think for us, we really need to think about, how are we preparing ourselves in the workplace to deal with this new reality, or it's been an existing reality and a changing reality for us. Or how have we been operating in this workplace? So today we're going to talk about this dynamic, right? And how we are going to move forward as professionals in this setting. So with that, let's move on to the next one. I'm going to say, I want you to own your value because you belong here. So with that, stop waiting to be validated. How many of you feel that you're validated, you're waiting to be validated from others? And you waiting for your voice to be heard. I know I do sometimes. And with that, you're like, you're not, your voice is not heard around the table. You feel like you have the experience, but they don't see your experience. So I want you to stop waiting for them or your team management or whoever it is to validate who you are and your strengths and your experience. Your voice and your experience and your leadership is needed. And I want you to start bragging about your accomplishments. I call it get a brag book. Keep a running list of all your accomplishments and your wins and your praises, and you go boast about them. And I see Yvette talking about struggle with bragging, and we'll talk about that, right? And remind them that if they don't see your power, remind them with your achievements. Because if you don't remind them, they won't remember. They won't remember what you've done. So you got to put it in their face. So Yvette, I'll stop there and tell me a little bit about your struggle, if you don't mind.
So I guess I've never been one to brag about myself, and although my work shows my achievements, I struggle with just like putting it back in their face. I guess I never bring up, well, I achieved this, this, and this. I'm trying to like work on that, but it's a struggle for me.
And why you think it's a struggle for you?
I
Like
don't
what
know. I think
stops you from bragging?
it may be about, yeah, it may be just like me putting myself out there in the spotlight and not really wanting to. I don't know. I've never been a bragging person, so I had to do this, and my mentor is on me constantly. You have to brag about yourself. You have to put yourself out there. And I'm just like, I don't know how to do that. Like that's not who I am.
But think about it this way, and I would love for others to chime in. If you don't do it, who would do it for you? If you don't celebrate yourself, who would celebrate it for you? If you don't put your accomplishments out there and you just keep working hard and working hard and working hard, you think anybody would do it for you? Right? But then we're not, they're not shy to say what they did and how they did it and the value they bring. Sometimes they don't even work as hard as we did. But yet still they got the role and you wonder why you didn't get it. But we can't sit back, right? We can't sit back and expect somebody to celebrate and highlight the things we do. We have to know our value. We have to know what we bring to the table and have a voice and speak up and share that. It's not just about bragging, it's about showing the value of what we bring and highlighting that on a constant basis. So this is about speaking up and being a self-advocate. Silence is not a strategy, right? We have to take the time to speak up and be heard. We have to use confident language when asking for promotion, raises, and opportunities. But that comes with also, as you said, Yvette, knowing what you've accomplished, knowing your wins, knowing your values. But we can't be timid. We can't be bragful and boastful and egotistical, but we can be confident. We can't speak it in a way that we know the value we bring, the contribution we add, and the impact we're making. And when we do that in a way that we are able to demonstrate that, it's very different from being boastful. And so we got to be able to be strategic in how we're doing that. We can't be silent about it. We have to be heard. We have to speak up. And we have to show that in a way that allows us to move forward to get what we want. And what I say is, we deserve a seat at the table. And don't be afraid to bring your own chair. Don't think that they're going to put a chair there for you. right? So I don't know if that resonates with you, but I'll be happy to hear your feedback. And sometimes I'll even say, if that table is not meant for you to sit around, go make your own table.
It is, I think this is Sharon. I think just me stepping back and going through my career. I think, all of what you're saying is correct. But I think we, in the past as women, especially Black women, when we're seen strong, they say we're over aggressive, and it becomes more of a negative toward us versus something positive. So I think and I know I have in the past maybe shrunk back a bit because you didn't want them to see you as an aggressive person, but when we're confident, they see aggressiveness. So how do you change that mentality? You're right. We can't be afraid to and to step up and ask for what we want and be confident in that. But oftentimes what I've found out is that it becomes a tag on your back of negative. She's aggressive, and you know, she's too pushy, those type of things. So just trying to overcome those stereotypes, plus do your job on the top of that, sometimes it just becomes overwhelming. So that's my input.
No, I agree. I think, we got to define, there are stereotypes, but, we'll go through the strategies, because this is where I know we have to have the champions and advocates for you, right? You got to still speak up for yourself, because there's others, and I'm going to say this, there's people that are aggressive. There's white men that go up and very well advocate for themselves. And I see people and other females that do it, and they're not classified as aggressive, and the stereotypes are classified against them the same way when we do it. But that doesn't mean we have to scale back, because then we're shut out, right? And so you can move on to the other slide. So with that, I think we need to stop waiting for the things I think we need to do, right? So to your point, for me, we need to think about, what I do is I look at how I communicate, and I invest in certain things in myself, right? But it is about, to me, I don't try not to lend into the stereotypes, because I know I'm not aggressive. So I'm not going to buy into the stereotypes of the definition of what they think I am, because you have to know who you are. And they can classify whatever they want about me, but I know who I am. And I know my experience, I know my strengths, and I know what I bring to the table. And if I continue to go and advocate for the value and the impact I bring, and I keep showing those wins, then, as I said, like, you're going to continue to have to be that advocate for yourself. And we're going to have to build that network and the champions in the room who will help you to move that forward. So this is what I call the invest in yourself. And we're going to go through the different strategies. We can talk about them to help, I think, as Sharon, you said, break down those stereotypes, because the stereotypes are going to be there. And not everyone have those stereotypes. So I don't want to classify this. Not everyone walk around with those stereotypes. There's a few of them, yes, but not everyone really will have that stereotypical mentality. And there's people that will be the champions for you and will make room for you. And I was having this discussion with someone last week, and I said, I am where I am because there's people that did not look like me, who believed in me, who saw the potential in me, and who were in the room when I wasn't in the room, who made an opportunity for me to get the leadership, the promotions, and advocate for me when I wasn't there, right? And we have to know that they didn't believe in the stereotypical notions of a Black woman, right? So I also believe that not everybody believes in that. And so we have to align with those professionals and champions who will make way for us and advocate for us, right? And there's the people that will not advocate for us, but I will not stop that from allowing me, and I will challenge you to not allow you to sit back and be quiet and not be the champion and advocate for yourself, right? And so with that, I would say, invest in yourself, stop waiting. Don't wait for a company to invest in you. Invest in your growth. Think about the things you need to grow in. You know, I hear a lot of people say, well, they don't want to spend in my leadership and stuff. No, we would spend a lot of things in a lot of ways. You would go and do, but what are you looking to do to invest in your growth? If I want to think about the things that I need to do to grow, right? And what are those things I'm going to invest in? And I'm not going to wait for somebody to do it for me. Your professional development, your coaching, your workshops, your webinars, your conferences, and the network. What is that network that you're going to build to help support you? Like I said, there's people that are going to be in the room when you're not in the room to advocate for you, to understand and know who you are, that's willing to invest in you and your career and help break down those barriers and even tap into you and pull out the things in you that you don't even know exist. And even when you're facing those difficult times, you can go back to, and they will help you through it because they've been there or they understand the situation or the circumstance or the company dynamics and help you navigate through that because they have been there and they have that experience. And so having that network is equally important. So having to establish that, not just even within the organization, but outside of your organization is helpful. So these are some things when I say invest in yourself. You know, we have a lot of groups in, you know, there's things like Meet Me Now, there's things on, you know, in LinkedIn, there's things on Facebook, you know, there's a lot of development and networking groups to get involved in. And even for professional development, there's like, you know, people ask me, Candice, what do you do? I go on Udemy and I look at courses. Some of them are really cheap. And I built out my own self-development plan. I don't wait for my organization to tell me to do that. I look at my own areas of development and I build and I invest in myself. Because I'm not going to wait for anyone to do that for me. Because as the organization and the environment and the our systems changing, I want to make sure I'm understanding what those trends are. And I want you to make sure that you're investing in your own self and your own career development. You understand how the industry is changing and you're keeping yourself relevant so that you own your career, you own your journey, and that you are making sure that you have your path in your hand and investing in yourself so that you know exactly where you want to go. So with that, I want to continue. Again, this is a big landing thing, right? Your career is your biggest asset. So invest in it accordingly. Prioritize your career growth. Like it's the most important investment. You know, we invest in a lot of other things, but your career growth is the most important investment you have. Continuous learning is important. Stay updated on the industry trends and make sure that you have new skills. So I ask you today, what are you investing in for yourself? What new skills are you investing in for yourself? What are industry trends do you know of or are you aware of? Are you subscribing to certain things to know exactly what it means that you should be investing in or learning about to keep updated so that you're not just working hard, but when something comes up, you're prepared. I always say success equal preparation plus opportunity. But how are you making sure that you're prepared so that when that opportunity comes, you're ready for it, right? There are people out there that are doing that, but you need to make sure that you're putting yourself ahead of the curve. And strategic planning is key. Your career needs to be a strategic plan. Don't sit by and let it happen. You have to have clear goals, milestones for your career progression. What is that plan? What is that goal that you're putting together for yourself? And that ties into two because it leads to how am I making sure I'm continuously learning? How am I building out those new skills for myself and investing in that as part of my career progression? So, you know, we have these things that are other jobs that talk about career development and your learning opportunities, but this is something you have to do personally for yourself. You have to make that your plan. And I want you to take that on because this is your asset. Your career is a collection of your experience, not a job, but a collection of your experience. And that's the asset that you have. And I want you to think about that and how you continue to build on that with those goals and milestones so that you're continuing to progress and build on those new skill sets over time, right? So don't let it be stagnant. Make sure you're keeping up with the industry, with the trends, and investing in that and you're putting in, it's like that investment where you continually put in stocks and you're investing in that new stock or knowing what is happening. You got to do the same thing with your career. So I ask you now, are you doing that? And if you're not, we have to set a plan in motion, right? Because you want to be ahead of the curve. You want to lead from in front and make sure that you have that plan in place and you're progressing your career with a clear goal, with clear milestones, knowing exactly what are the skills you need to keep abreast of so that you're ahead of the curve.
Thank you for watching, and I hope you found this inspiring. Please leave your comments and hit the subscribe button below.